here we're going to talk about solving radical equations. So what to do to get rid of a square root. These will be the easiest ones where after we square both sides we won't end up necessarily with a quadratic, we'll just have a linear equation to solve. But in general we're always looking to do the opposite. So we want to get rid of multiplication, we divide. We want to get rid of addition, we subtract. If we want to get rid of a square root, we need to square both sides of the equation. So we have to do all of both sides of the equation. So squaring both sides. So squaring and the square root cancel each other. Think of an example like square root of 9 is 3. And if you square that, you get 9 back. So the square root and the squared cancel each other. So I'm just left with y minus 10. And then 8 squared, 8 times 8 is 64. And then add 10 to both sides of the equation to get y by itself. So y equals 74. Also in these ones, an extremely good idea to go back and make sure this works. This is kind of a simpler equation, so maybe we'll check it kind of in our head. If we put 74 minus 10, square root of 64 does give us 8. So let's try another one. Negative 2 plus the square root of x minus 2 equals 7. Now in this one, okay, I want to get rid of the square root, but be careful, I have to square all of both sides. If I square this, there's actually 2 terms here, and so I'd have to FOIL, and then that wouldn't make it any simpler for me. So, big thing about getting rid of square roots is I need the square root to be by itself. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides of this equation. That way, I just have the square root on the left-hand side. And so now it will make sense to square both sides to get rid of the square root. And so square root and the squared cancel each other. I'm just left with x minus 2 on the left, and 9 squared, or 9 times 9 is 81. And then to get rid of a minus 2, I'll add 2 to both sides, so I get x equals 83. And we can put it back in here and check and make sure. If I put 83 here, 83 minus 2 will give me square root of 81, which is 9. So as long as 9 plus negative 2 gives me 7, which it does, then this looks good. Not a bad idea to write out your checks sometimes also.